What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Adventures with Afterthought. This time, we're headed to Slovakia for the Hip Hop Zij Festival in 2017. It was a wild, crazy experience, and I'm going to tell you all about it. Make sure you like the video and share it with everyone you know. We're about to get into it. So this story takes place in June of 2017. So it was a pretty long time ago, about 4 years ago. I was on tour and working with a bigger artist, and we were going all over the world and doing a bunch of crazy festivals, a bunch of crazy things. This all starts in Pittsburgh. So I wake up in the morning, I'm supposed to go get this flight. It turns out that they sent me the wrong flight information. The promoter hooked everything up, took care of everything. I was supposed to fly from Pittsburgh to Washington, D.C., and then from D.C. to Vienna. And then when I got to Vienna, I get picked up and we go on and on. I get up in the morning, I'm about to leave my house to go to the airport, and they send me an email. For some reason, I didn't really check it and I didn't look at it right away. So I get all my stuff together and I just kind of glance at my phone, like I said, and I start heading out, right? Something tells me a little bit into the way, I'm like, oh, I need to look at this email. So I look at it real quick, glance at it, and see that the flight says that it was for earlier than what it had originally stated in the beginning. So I'm a little bit confused, looking like, wait, I'm on my way to the airport. This says I'm leaving now. Somehow, some way, I didn't get sent this email that they changed the flight time to go earlier. I've never seen earlier. I've seen later, I've never seen earlier. So they send it to me. I end up getting to the airport and the flight's gone. So this is how we start out everything. Flight's gone. I'm sitting there and I'm like, I have to get to DC to get this other flight, and I have no idea how much time's in between. It's not that much time. They're frantic. They get me onto a different airline somehow, and they get me to DC with like 30 minutes to go. That's how we start the whole thing. It's gets better. I get to DC, I get there about 30 minutes before my next flight. So as soon as I get there, boom, I'm running to the thing. I'm flying this airline, Lufthansa. If you know how to say it, put it in the comments because I have no idea. But it's Lufthansa, whatever it is. So I'm running, I'm getting to the gate, I have to go through all this stuff. It's customs, like I have to go through all this stuff. And everybody was super nice and kind of like delayed the flight a little and made sure I got through the customs and did all this stuff super fast. It was wild. I've never been through everything so fast. So I'm frantic. I get to the gate finally and I don't have a ticket yet. So the lady at the little counter is like, hey, well, let's get you a ticket. I'm telling her the story. I missed my flight, all this stuff. She's an older lady. She's kind of like a mom. So I felt cool just telling her kind of my story, whatever, even though there was no reason for me to tell her anything. She comes back and she's like, guess what? I'm gonna make your trip a little bit easier. I bumped you up to business class. I don't know if you've ever been on business class. If you've been on business class on a flight before, put it down in the comments and tell everyone about your experience, because it's not like flying any other way. In business class, they have 3-course meals, lay back bed. They basically lay all the way flat. So it's like a bed, and they give you blankets and they give you all kind of stuff. You have your own big screen. They give you a little remote for whatever. I was on a Virgin Airlines flight one time in business class. In between the 2 business class areas was a full bar. You just walk up to the bar, little TV, whatever, you just kind of chill for a second and get your drink and hang out, and then you can go back to your business class seat. I don't have a ton of money. I'm not some superstar that flies business class all the time. I've been fortunate enough to be able to fly business class before, but it's not a usual thing. So this lady just handing me a ticket upgraded that I have to fly 6 or 7 hours or however long it was away, I was so happy. So I was like, yes, this is crazy, thank you. I get on the plane, I get in my business class seat, I'm like, this is awesome, there's champagne waiting for me. It's Lufthansa, whatever it is. They are actually a pretty nice airline. If you ever have a chance to go on a flight with them, it's nice. I hate flying. If you know me, I just hate flying. I'm not a big flyer. I have to fly all the time. I just don't like it. I have anxiety over it. It sucks. I wish that I didn't, but it's a thing I have to deal with, and especially if I want to travel and DJ and do all that stuff, I just have to deal with it, even though it sucks. Flight is actually pretty awesome. Flight goes super smooth. All the people are super nice on the flight. The food is really good. Everything's cool. So whatever reason, the easiest place to go was to Vienna. That was the closest big airport to fly directly in from the States. So that's where we flew to. And then we had transportation from Vienna to Bratislava, Slovakia. And I had no idea. I'd never had any interaction with anyone from Slovakia. I wasn't sure where Bratislava was. I didn't really know anything about this festival except the artist I was with and Fat Joe were the headliners, and it was supposed to be some crazy thing in the middle of nowhere, Slovakia. So that's all I know. So I get off the flight at the same time the artist I'm with gets off the flight. We're going, and I see a little bit of a commotion, and I'm like, oh man, maybe it's for him. They're excited to see him, whatever. Maybe there's fans, whatever it may be. And I quickly find out that it's not really for him necessarily. There is people like going to him, but there's also Rag and Bone Man. And I was never aware who Rag and Bone Man was prior to this either. But I guess there was another festival going on in Austria, and he was one of the headliners of that festival. So he was getting off the flight right at the same time. I didn't know, and he was coming off, and it was just this big crazy thing. So through all the confusion, the promoter gets us, the driver gets us, and we go outside. We get in this little Sprinter van, and they drive us from Vienna to Bratislava. So the guy drove us, he was super cool, he told us all these random facts about the area, pointed stuff out. We get to our hotel, and the first thing that I notice is I'm a big hockey fan. I don't know if anybody out there is a hockey fan. If you are, drop your team down below. I'll read that. I'll talk all kind of ish to you all day. So we get to our hotel, and I see all these hockey teams. There's just like bags, hockey bags, all kind of stuff going on. So now I'm curious because all these hockey people are around me. I'm like, oh, there's got to be some hockey stuff going on too. And granted, we're there a day early as well. So we're not playing till the next night super late. So I have all this time to kind of chill, relax, decompress, and just figure out where I'm at. I kind of start looking around some more. So I ask, I'm like, what's going on? I need to know. They say, we're playing a juniors tournament right next door. The stadium, or like the little arena, is basically attached to this hotel. And all these people are going, and it's teams and kids and families and all kind of stuff going on. And I'm kind of searching around. I'm looking for Team USA. I'm like, oh, and I don't see them. But it's cool. It's still hockey, whatever. So I asked the lady at the front, I'm like, how do I get into this? How do I see this? Somebody overhears me, sees I'm American. They're like, hey, if you want to come to one of our games, let us know. They give me a little ticket. I was super pumped. First night when I was there, I went to this little hockey game. It was dope. I was just super happy in a different country, just kind of feeling a little bit better. I'm just somewhere I don't know watching a hockey game. It was cool. I go back to the hotel after the game, just kind of relax, go to sleep. The next day we have a big day. Next day, I wake up and I just kind of go all around the little city. Like Bratislava, it's really, really cool. I went to all the little Bratislava stuff. There's like a guy in the sewer and he's poking his head out of the sewer. He's got a little hat on or whatever. I went all in those areas, little streets and whatever, and took pictures and saw all the Bratislava, old Slovakia, cool history, and it was dope. So I spent a couple, 2 or 3 hours just walking around, whatever. So now it's time to go back to the hotel. We eat some food, get ready to get picked up. When we get picked up, it's festival style. So right off the bat, it's super official. So it's the big Sprinter, and they'll come and they take care of you right off the bat as soon as you get to the hotel. So we get in, we're like, cool, drinks are here, everything's set up nice, we don't have to worry about it. Promoter's super communicative. Sometimes when you go to different countries and you're not really sure what's going on fully, the promoters aren't as communicative. There's a language difference, there's a lot going on. So you're trying to get through together, but they may not know it, you may not realize it, whatever. So this was perfect. This was not that situation. These guys were super cool. We knew exactly what was going on. We were heading there. We were going to go to our green room tent that we had. We were going to chill for a little while, get ready for it, and then we played a little bit later. But we just wanted to be there, soak in the atmosphere. When we get to the festival, we're pulling in, and as we're pulling in, we see this big lake. So right off to the distance, to our right, when we're pulling in, is this massive lake, and there's people just doing cool stuff on the lake. There's like jet skis and people just doing random stuff. This little wakeboard thing, a rope that's pulling someone around, and they hang onto this rope and it continuously goes around, and there's little jumps and all kind of stuff. So it's this random beach, cool lake area. So it's the first thing we see when we're pulling in. As we keep pulling in, I kind of see some familiar things that make me think it's a campground. Like we're at a campground. We keep going, I see some little cabins and little things it looks like, and there's people everywhere, and they're tapping on the glass and all kind of stuff, and we're just kind of narrowly going through this road. We're pulling up and kind of going around this little building and through all this madness, right? So we get to the back of the building, there's a bunch of these tents set up, and they're nice tents, the luxury stuff. If you go to like a football game, there's a big tailgate outside, those big luxury type tents are out there, and that's where the green rooms are. It's for like the luxury lounges, VIP, all this stuff. So we get to the green room and everything's set up real dope, everything's super cool. I want to start going out and kind of explore what's going on. So I remember just going out and walking around and seeing, it was such a cool festival. It was like a real camp festival. Like the camp was right here, and then the festival part where the stage was right here, and then there was the lake area, and they had set up, I mean, there was areas set up with like beer pong tournaments and people at these there was these little shack cabins that I guess you could like rent as well, and everybody had their own little party going on, but it was all just infused into the festival. Then there was a bunch of food around, and people were just, they knew I wasn't from there, so they were just super cool, and I had a great experience. I get back to the green room later on. The night before, Fat Joe was the headliner, but other than that, I think we were the only other American acts. So we just, they treated us really nicely. We're watching the show. There's all these other people that are from all these different countries near there that are out there just killing it. It's cool, vibes are awesome. There's like 100,000 people there, massive crowd. I mean, super big crowd. I may be exaggerating on the amount of people, but it was a good 25, 30,000 people. I have a picture, it's right here. So yeah, it was a pretty big crowd. We were super excited. We're about to go on. I start getting my stuff ready. I'm like, all right, cool. We start taking some little drinks, whatever. Excitement and anticipation's coming up. We're about to walk out of the tent of the green room. About to walk out. So we're sitting there just super intense, ready, focused, dialed in to go out there and give a great performance to these people, right? And we're in the zone. So I'm walking out. All of a sudden, I see the promoter running towards us from the stage area. And I'm like, kind of like, okay, he's coming to get us, we're late or whatever. So I start picking up my pace to go towards him to try to get to the stage quicker. Maybe we're supposed to be on right now. I don't know what was going on. So we're going, and as soon as we get to him, he's pushing us backwards. He's like, you gotta go back to the green room. So we go back to the green room. All these people now around us are going crazy. They're running around, and people are going this way and people are going that way, and we see the crowd, and the crowd's dispersing. And granted, again, we don't speak most of the languages that are being spoken around us, except the promoter speaks English, and he's kind of telling us, hey, go back, and all these other people are going different ways, and it's kind of freaking us out. I can see the crowd dispersing. You can kind of see through the fence a little bit and see people scattering, and we're just like, wow, this is crazy. I don't know what's going on. So we start heading back to the tent. We get back to the tent, and the promoter has a sprinter ready to go. Basically just kind of shoves us and takes us out, and we're following like this army truck. I don't know how else to explain it. It was an army truck, and we're following this army truck, and they're getting us out of there, and we're gone. We're out of the whole area, out of the tent area. We're on a regular road. We're out. Boom, gone, right? So we go around, we're driving around. They just have us driving around. The guy hands me a bottle of Crown. And he's like, here, we have to drive around for a while. So I look at the other people that I'm with, and I'm just like, what is going on? This is crazy. We still don't know what's going on fully. We're just driving in this Sprinter van. So we keep going. Finally, the promoter's like, hey, there was a bomb threat. Someone called in a bomb threat, so we had to evacuate everybody. We have a secondary location that's set up. We have another stage set up in a parking garage a couple miles from here, or a mile, or half a mile, or a mile from the original site. We have it set up just in case something like this happens. Just in case something like this happens. You guys planned for something like this to happen? So I was just freaked out. I'm like, what do you mean? What? Anyway, we get to the secondary location, and it's legit just this parking garage kind of in the middle of nowhere, a little bit of an industrial type feel, and we're just there. First of all, there's no power. There's no power going. There's like a stage kind of set up, and then there's a little stand, and they're setting up speakers, but there's no power. There's no generator or anything there yet. So they're setting all this stuff up. There's no way to sound check. There's nothing. Now all of these people start funneling in from the other place. They just start funneling in, and this whole huge industrial parking garage just fills up with people. It was crazy. And I'm just standing there with one other person from the United States, and we're just standing there looking around, and we're with the promoter. He's like the only guy who even speaks English with us, and it was just such a disorienting, wild just feeling, because I'm just like, I have no idea where I am. If someone asked me and something happened to me, they wouldn't find me. I don't know where I'm at. This is crazy. Finally, some power comes somehow. And they're like, yo, you should just go DJ. So I step up there, and I have no idea. Like, I'm not even sure what these people listen to. It's just so disorienting. They hand me a mic. I speak English. I was like, man, this is going in the record book. So I take a little swing of the crowd, and I hop up there and I start playing music. The vibe kind of changes. Everybody starts dancing. And I'm just sitting here like, there's a bomb threat, now people are dancing. It's just a lot to take in. So it was one for the record books. It was just a crazy, crazy experience up until this point, right? So now they come back and they say, hey, they've cleared the campground, they've cleared the festival site, there's no bomb, we can go back. We were there for like an hour. I DJ'd for maybe 5 minutes. Now we're back in the Sprinter van. They just pile us back in the Sprinter van, still just kind of rolling with the punches at this point because we have no idea what's happening. They're like, hey, we still want you to perform. So we were already supposed to go on a bit late anyway. We were supposed to go on at midnight initially, but then it was closer to about 12:45 when we were about to initially walk onto stage. And it was cool. Things were running a little bit late. You know how things go at festivals, at shows. If you've ever been to a festival and it's gone late, or a show that's gone late, put it down there because I bet you have some funny stories. So again, it's a little bit later. They're like, hey, will you guys please still go on? I'm like, sure, why not? We're here. We've been through a bomb threat. We're out here, right? So we get in the thing and we start driving back to the initial festival campsite. And when we're going through, it's like zombie apocalypse people. It's just one little road and we're going back and we're just creeping by. We must have been going 2 miles an hour, if that. People were just walking with us on the thing. So the little window was open in the little Sprinter van, and people were just walking with us, just looking, to the point to the artist I was with, just opened the side door, and we're just chilling, just going, basically the same pace as everybody else walking, and it's just madness. We're smelling all kind of foods. People are passing us, trying to pass us alcohol and stuff that we didn't even know what it was. It was just a wild experience. There was a lot of things that I wasn't used to, and I didn't understand half of them, but everybody was so joyous. We'd just been through a bomb threat and these people were so happy. So it made me excited. I was like, this is gonna be so much fun. So we get back to the campsite festival area, maybe 20 minutes later, and this is granted, it should have took us like 3 minutes to get there. It took us 20, 25 minutes because we had to wait for all the people walking with us. So we get in, then they're like, hey, can you guys wait a couple minutes? We want to wait for everybody to get back. Everybody ended up coming back. It was about 75% full. So when we were about to go on, it was 110% full. And then the second time we went on at like 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, it was about 75% full. So we were still happy with it. We went out there, had an amazing performance. It was super dope. Everybody was super cool. They rocked with us. We had such an amazing time. Everything was great. Get about, what, an hour's sleep, if that. Sprinter's back to pick us up, drive us back to Vienna, get on the plane. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God, for giving me that business class seat on the way back as well. Whoever that woman is at Lufthansa or Lufthansa or however you say it, excuse me for saying it improperly, but from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it because it was needed. It made me feel way more comfortable. It was great. I slept a little. I never even slept on a plane. It was wild. I get back to the US and then I got ready for our next adventure. So make sure you catch me next time at Adventures with Afterthought. Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm Corn.
He calls himself Jake Paulers.
What's going on, Jake Paulers? Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe. Who's the guy that kind of looks like you, that did Rag and Bones Man?
Wasn't that his name?
Rag and Bones. Oh, is that his name? Rag and Bone Man? Can you look that up?
Yeah, look at it.
It's like you and Bubba Sparks had a baby.